right. I guess the intro did not work. I guess StreamYard is doing a little something finicky, but you know what? It's worth it. I have now more time with my awesome guest right here, who I had the pleasure of talking to just a little bit on this other podcast that I had with the Jets thing, whatever. But most important, I got Lance the Man from North Dakota Carnivore. You could check out his channel in the description below. What is up, my man?
You know, it's early in the morning here, man.
I love it, dude.
It's a beautiful day. It's going to get hot today. So this is actually a good thing for me to get up, get moving early on my day off. So I generally sleep in for about another hour on the weekends.
Oh.
But during the week, I'm up an hour before I had to get up to do this. So it's nothing. I got to sleep in anyway, man.
I love it. Look, it's going to be well worth your while. All right, my man.
Oh, I know. And I knew what time when I accepted your invitation to come on. I knew what time you did your podcast. So I already knew ahead of time what I was going to get into.
I got to do it way before Rick does, because then he gets all the viewers.
Right?
Love that guy. So let's jump right into it. Have you always been a vegetarian? Just joking. Just joking. That one.
No, but I came really close to it at one time.
Really? Oh, you gotta just get us through that journey. How were you almost a vegetarian?
When back in 2010 or so, I was promoted at my work. So I went from being an active employee to pretty much a desk job where you got out and did stuff, but you didn't actually do any work.
Mm-hmm.
And my weight went from 240, 250 to 300 pounds pretty quick.
Wow.
And I was on call. I worked in the oil field. I was a rig manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only one on the rig for the company. So I was 24/7. I was on call when I was out there, and it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I kept seeing these ads for Shanti's Insanity.
Right.
And I kept looking down and seeing how big my belly was getting in. I was like, I got to do something. I finally ordered that. I did the Beachbody workouts for 4 years straight. And that was from 2012 to 2016. But they push a vegetarian vegan lifestyle really hard. And I was eating like fish and chicken. I wasn't eating ground beef very often when I was doing this stuff. I was eating a lot of veg, a lot of fruit, and very little animal fats. I did lose about 80 pounds and kept 80 pounds off for 2 of those years. So the first year and a half or so, it took me to lose all that weight, and then I was able to keep it off. What happened is one day I wore a chest strap to keep my heart rate, so I knew what I was doing, right? Making sure I was staying safe. I couldn't get a heart rate one day. And it kind of worried me as I was having trouble breathing. My chest felt tight, having trouble breathing. So my wife came home from wherever she was, and I told her about that. And she's like, "You're going to the doctor now." We went to the ER. Within 30 seconds, they had me on a stretcher, hooked up to I don't know how many wires. I was an AFib.
Oh my goodness.
So that wasn't fun. But that was the closest I got to a vegetarian diet, where very little red meat, but mostly chicken and fish, and a lot of salads. And the one thing I have to say to anybody that says that they like a salad, if they don't put anything in that salad, then you like a salad. If you put any dressing on it, you put any other stuff in with it, that's not what you like. You like the flavor that you're adding. You don't like the salad.
Love that. 1,000%. I've never even thought of that. And you're 100% right. I remember eating vegetables and like carrots, and I would always have to like have a dip to it.
Right.
And again, like I get it. Certain people like vegetables, but you just brought a brand new meaning to it. If you like it without all these condiments, now I'll give it up. If you want to put a little salt on, like, I don't know, a piece of lettuce, all right, I'll give you that, right? Because they might, that other side might come to us and be like, all right, try eating a steak without salt. And there are some people that do it. Me personally, I need to have salt because to me, it's for my body, it's vital. It's vital to have salt with, because I need electrolytes. The way how I function, I'm high energy all the time from like the morning all the way to nighttime. I love my electrolytes, even with water with a little bit of salt. But spot on, man. You're 100% right with the dressing on the on the vegetables. You're right. So now you went through that journey. I would imagine that you would be yo-yoing, right, with weight at that point, right?
Well, okay, so I went through that, and in 2015 when my AFib started, I was put on medication that helped to control it. 2016, that medication stopped working, and my weight went up a little bit to about 225 is where I ended up at, even on those medications. Then my cardiologist took me off of everything I was doing that I thought was healthy. So no more workouts, no more near vegetarian diet, go back to standard American diet. He wanted to make sure that wasn't the cause of it. So I stopped doing all that. And 2016, 2017 in February, I had heart surgery to correct it. So the catheter ablation where I think it's 3 catheters they put in your groin and they go up. I've never been hooked up to so many wires on my chest and my back. There is a 3D map of my heart that was on display. You could see everywhere inside my body. It was amazing what they can do. And I went through the catheter ablation. The spots in my heart that were telling my heart to beat outside of the sinus node, they zapped with radiation or microwave is I think it was what they did. And that kills it so that it can't send that signal from that spot again.
Wow.
After I had that, I had such bad anxiety I couldn't do my workouts anymore. That's where my weight started creeping up. And then in 2020, we all know what was going on there, but I found out that I had high blood pressure. I went to a chiropractor who I hadn't seen in a couple of years. So, you do the intake. They did my blood pressure and it was high. Yeah, I knew it was going to be high because I was taking a allergy medication that had a decongestant in it that made my blood pressure high. And I knew this. Once in a while, I'd stop taking it for about a week. I'd take my blood pressure. It was always good. I stopped taking it for a week. I took my blood pressure and it was like 215 over 120. That's extremely high.
Yeah.
I checked it a couple more times in a couple of days, and I finally told my wife, hey, you need to make me an appointment at that doctor because my blood pressure is high. Well, that started out in mid-2020. I got put on my first blood pressure medication, and by December of 2023, I was on 5 blood pressure medications. My blood pressure still wasn't under control. It was still high.
And at that point, sorry to interrupt, your diet at that point, would it be considered, I don't want to say like standard American diet, but to the point where you're trying to level out what's going in, you're kind of being very meticulous, just to gauge on what's causing this blood pressure spike?
Yeah, I was eating basic standard American diet. Mostly home cooked meals, very little fast food. So people can't blame the fast food.
Right.
It wasn't what it was. But yeah, I was eating basically a standard American diet. We were ordering from one of these online companies that sent you meal kits. And they were actually, portion controlled so that they we weren't overeating stuff, and I was still gaining weight, and my blood pressure was still going up. And it was right after Christmas on 2023 when I stepped on the scale in the bathroom, and my weight was 347 pounds. I was huge. Now, I did go to the doctor shortly after that, and she put me on a seizure medication that had the side effect of weight loss.
Right.
And from December of 2023 until August of 2024, I lost a total of 12 pounds in 8 months.
Huh.
Not much.
Not at all. Not at all compared to this lifestyle.
Right? So, and that's actually when I found, well, actually in June of 2024 is when I found carnivore. I was scrolling on TikTok, sitting on the couch, eating Lay's potato chips.
Yeah.
My granddaughter and I, we'd destroy a bag of potato chips a night, just hanging out, watching TV. And Carnivore Ray came on. I love Carnivore Ray, man. That guy, his attitude and his, I don't give a rip. Just, it caught me, and I was like, this guy's just crazy, eating nothing but meat, and he's getting benefits. That got me to look into his content a little bit more. I watched a bunch of his videos on TikTok. Then I went to YouTube, and I looked him up on YouTube because I really don't like watching stuff on my phone that much. Just enough to, dull the noise and stuff in my head. So I went on YouTube and I was checking out his stuff on YouTube, and that got me to look for more. And I found Dr. Barry. I found Homestead Howe, and all the good doctors on there. And I did a deep dive into Dr. Barry's. I watched probably 2/3 of his content before I even started doing this way of eating and stuff. And then Dr. Baker, Dr. Chafee, Tony Hampton, Robert Siwas, Judy Cho. She's a nutritionist. She's got a great channel. She does holistic nutrition, but she starts people out on an elimination diet, which is the carnivore diet. And then Dr. Jason Fung, Ben Bickman, Dr. Boz. I went through this content for 2.5 months. And finally one day, was it August 22nd, I went to work, and my wife used to make me these egg bites. They're just a piece of ham with an egg in it, cheese in it, and she'd bake them like that, and muffin tins. So 2 of those for breakfast, and then go to work. And I didn't bring anything to work with me that day. And it's like 11 o'clock. I call her up and I say, hey, will you do me a favor? She's like, what? I'm like, go to McDonald's, grab me 4 quarter-pound burger patties only. I don't want the bun. I don't want anything else. I just want the patties. And he was like, what? And I'm like, I'll tell you when I get home. But that's how I started my carnivore diet. It was a great. What did Rick say?
Oh, Rick is hysterical. It's a good thing that you didn't find them on YouTube, or you would never gone carnivore.
Knowing how old you are, Rick, you probably would have inspired me to go carnivore sooner.
Yes, especially his journey. Well, his journey is his lifestyle. But getting back to this, so you went and you started eating the quarter pounders, no bread and whatnot. That was that first initial step, right? So What did you feel?
I honestly don't know. Other than being full with just eating 4 patties to begin with, it really shocked me.
Wow.
that night on my way home, I stopped and I grabbed a New York strip steak, and I had a strip steak for dinner. And I can tell you the next morning, I really wasn't hungry. I skipped breakfast that day. And then I had my wife bring me some more patties and did another strip steak at night. We went to Costco that weekend, stocked up on meat, ground beef, and everything, and just made sure that we had what we needed. And then I started eating breakfast. I had 3 meals a day for the first few weeks.
Mm.
In the mornings I was doing 8 to 10 eggs and probably about a pound of bacon every morning. Eating a couple of ground beef patties or leftover steak that I cooked extra for lunch, and then having a steak at dinner time, or more ground beef, and adding butter into everything. Within the first 6 weeks, in the first week, I stopped snoring.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer stopped breathing at night. I never went and did the CPAP study to see if I had, sleep apnea. My wife said I did. She said I stopped breathing all night long. But within the first week, that all stopped. Probably in the second to third week, about 90% of my aches and pains went away. When I woke up in the morning, my alarm went off. I was awake. I got up, and that was different. I used to have 5 alarms set just to wake up to go to work. And generally, it was a 4th alarm that would get me up.
Wow.
3 or 4 weeks into it, I'm waking up on my first alarm and then having to shut all the other ones off. It would take me, 4 or 5 minutes just to get out of bed because I hurt so much. But I was able to wake up on that first alarm, shut my alarms off, get up, and go. And I didn't hurt. I didn't have to massage my feet. I didn't have to work my shoulders and my neck to get moving. All the little aches and pains that I thought were just me getting old, because I was 57 at the time, they were just 90% of them were gone. I still had some pain in my wrist. This one here, just like closing my fist like this would cause pain in my wrist. Grasping onto a coffee cup or a drink with it, making that that little bit of pressure, that would cause pain in my wrist. I still had that one, but it was about that 6 to 8 week period where I gave up drinking alcohol and I gave up drinking coffee for the first time. Within 3 days, that pain went away. The other pain that I had in my foot that was constant, that never went away, that went away too. And I haven't had that one back. So by October of 2024, as a 57-year-old, aging, bald guy, overweight, I had no pain. I was pain-free, which is amazing. 6 weeks into my carnivore diet, though, 4 weeks into it, I got an appointment with my doctor to help come off my medications for my high blood pressure. I already come off of 3 of them in 4 weeks. The last 2 I had to take to get rid of were a maximum dose for that medication, and I didn't feel comfortable just stopping that. The other ones were, the lowest doses or a really low dose, and I didn't have any problems coming off of those. So went into the doctor and told her what I was doing, and I'd stopped taking medications and all that, and I wanted to come off of these other ones, and she just wanted to lower the 2 doses. I said, no, I want to get rid of this one, and I only want to take this one, but I want to take it at this dose. She's like, you can't do that. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. So you might as well give me my prescription. She's like, this way of eating is not good for you. I'm like, it's working. It's got me off of 3 of my blood pressure medications, and my blood pressure right now, you just took it. It's low. I need to get off of these.
How dare you, Lance, have him miss his Mercedes-Benz payment? How
Right?
dare you go against the grain?
Yeah. How dare I take away her vacation?
How dare you get healthy?
Right. So
How dare you be a critical thinker? How dare you?
Exactly.
Wow. Crazy.
But she agreed. She finally said, "Okay, you take this, but when your blood pressure drops again, you cut this one in half, and you take that until it happens again, and then you can cut that into a half again." I kind of followed that. I took that one pill for, it was about 5 or 6 days before I was able to cut it in half, before my blood pressure dropped. And I could tell when my blood pressure was dropping, I stood up, I got dizzy. I was like, whoa, all right. I sat down, I put my blood pressure cuff on, take my blood pressure. And when it was like 105/68, I was like, all right, I can get rid of one of those pills, right? And when I finally got to that last half, I stopped taking that last half of a pill, and I checked my blood pressure for 3 or 4 days, and then it started to go back up. It actually wasn't even that long. I just started to go back up right away. I took it for like 2 or 3 days after that, stopped again, and my blood pressure has been really good ever since. I haven't had anything 120 or above in the last 2 years.
Wow. So, we got to deconstruct this because there's a lot of layers to it. And there's one aspect of your life that I really want to get into, but not just as yet. So, first, rewind. You did something that I did a while ago, and it was called Insanity, Beachbody, Shaun T. For us older folks, it was a workout video where it was truly insane, where you had to push your body through the roof. Like there were no limits, and you had to be there disciplined every single day at that time. You pop in your DVDs, whoever remembers what that is, and you're drenched. You are just, pool of water in the middle of winter. And then the next day, right? So, all of these little experiences, believe it or not, they give us a little bit of discipline in the back of our heads, right? And it builds up for like later time. But that wasn't it. It wasn't the cure-all be-all to put ourselves through that rigorous program. Then throughout your journey, you went through a meal kit. So the meal kits, and it happens a lot, it's called portion control. So many people do this. They eat a nice plate of a little bit of mashed potatoes, a little bit of broccoli, a little bit of steak, and a little cup of water, seltzer, or Coca-Cola, small. And then when you're done eating, you're 10 times hungrier than before you started, like shoveling that food in. Done deliberately. Because now you're not full. You're not satiated. You are now thinking your next meal. And believe it or not, throughout that instance, it's messing up your head. Right? There's a mental issue going on with people that are continuously thinking about food. Hey, look, I'll raise my hand. That was me. And again, I just have to throw this out there for YouTube algorithms, because I'm seeing the views shooting up to like 40, 50, and then dropping down. Thanks, YouTube. This is not nutritional advice or medical advice, blah, 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 blah. Good. We got that out of the way.
Yep.
AFib. You suffer from that. And then you had anxiety. And, I'm not going to blame you. I would have the same thing, because you're thinking, holy smokes, I don't want to go through that. The pre-op, the post-op, the doctor's telling me I have to stop working out. When the doctor told you that, you just limit your exertion. How did that hit you?
That actually hit me pretty hard, because I thought I was doing something really good for my body by doing this stuff. I lost 80 pounds. I was still overweight. I was still over 200 pounds. And for my height, that still made me overweight, but I was fit. I had very little body fat.
Hmm.
I'm a bigger guy. I've always had really big, strong legs. And I think that's where most of my weight still is in my legs. It hit me hard because, I thought I was doing the right thing by working out, by eating the way I was eating. And when he told me that it's a possibility that what I was doing was causing it, and I was like, that's just crazy. How can that cause it? Never once really said anything about how bad a diet is for doing this kind of stuff, but other than go back to the standard American diet because that was healthier. Just crazy.
Lance, you know what strikes me is, look, I have a dog. The moment I bring the dog to the vet and they're like, "Hey, why are you bringing him here?" I don't know. He has something on his tail. It's just like a lesion or whatnot. Do you know the first thing that they ask me? What are you feeding it?
Yep.
What are you feeding him? Like straight up. They're not saying, "Hey, are you putting him through some rigorous stress?" You know?
Right?
What else? Is he watching too much TV? Let's put him on some statins. No. Hey, what are you feeding him? When I go into not that I have a tail, I mean that's kind of private. Anyway, I mean my tailbone is pretty long. Anyway, they right away blood pressure, all this medication. They never ask me. Never. What are you eating? Ever. And it's funny what you had said. Well, not funny, but it was very close to mine. When they put you on a medication, seizure medication, and it's off label, that hit me hard when you said that. Because before doing this, my PCP wanted to put me on Xanax. And I'm like, "Whoa, I'm okay in that department." They're like, "No, you suffer from OCD. That's why you're getting weight. You're gaining weight. And the off label on this is to control your eating habits because it's evident you suffer from OCD." I'm like, "Wait a minute, wait, what?" Yeah. I'm like, "No." They're like, "Well, then there's no cure for you. You have to find a way. You have to see a psychiatrist." And I did. I'm not going to lie. I did because look, not for nothing. You've been through it, and so many of our viewers have gone through it. You're looking for an option. You're
Right.
looking for a way out of this like conundrum, this matrix that there's no way out. Sorry, this is your diagnosis. And unfortunately, modern science has not gotten to the point where the research is enough. So you got to take these 5 medications, Lance. Sorry. Yeah, but I think I found something. What? Carnivore. No, that's not good. You're going to die of a heart attack. Get away from that.
Right.
Go with what's proven. That is what I want to get into. Carnivore is proven, damn it.
It is.
It has more backing statistics than all of these drugs. All of them. Why? And I want to take money out of the equation. I want to take money out of this. Why? Why do they promote all of this other stuff as opposed to within their curriculums as they're going through these studies, focus more on health, nutrition, the foods that we put in our bodies than the pills? Let's exclude money.
You can't exclude money, Dan. You can't. It is because of the money. Who is writing the textbooks that these doctors and nurses and nutritionists are being taught from? It's the pharmaceutical and the food industry that are writing these textbooks. They're the ones that are paying for the research, and they're the ones paying for the studies that go into this that show what we should eat, what we should be treated with. The doctors aren't being trained today to find a root cause anymore. They're being trained to find what pill covers that symptom. for the doctors and the nurses, it's not about the money.
Right.
I generally believe, but most of them believe that they're doing what they're supposed to do. But the back end of it, who's providing the training, who's providing the information, that is about the money. Because if they made people healthy, the pharmaceutical companies lose money. One of the biggest money things for the pharmaceutical industry, the two biggest ones are cancers and cholesterol. What are two things that get solved on a carnivore diet? Cancer and cholesterol.
Right.
That's two of them. You take the glucose away from the cancer cells. Cancer cells thrive on glucose. From what I've been reading, and it's not medical advice, but you take that away from them, your chances of surviving a cancer go up tremendously. One of my coworkers his brother-in-law was diagnosed with cancer recently. He eats not a carnivore, but ketovore. And him and I talk all the time. When that diagnosis came out, and they weren't giving this guy much of a chance to live the way they found it. He talked to him, and the guy went through 3 rounds of chemo and radiation and stuff, but he switched his diet to a strict keto diet, cut out all the processed foods, and his last check, he's cancer-free now. I believe that if you eat this way, it's going to help out tremendously. I also believe in fasting. Fasting and deep autophagy, it's amazing what it does for your body. In fact, I'm breaking my fast with you right now.
I came across something here. Have you heard of mitophagy?
Oh, yeah.
Holy smokes. So mitophagy is a selective form of autophagy where a cell specifically targets and recycles its damaged or superfluous mitochondria. It serves as a vital quality control mechanism to clear out dysfunctional organelles that produce toxic reactive oxygen species, preventing cellular degeneration, inflammation, and cell death.
Correct.
Unbelievable. And that is the part of critical thinking that these nefarious institutions, where it comes from, they don't want you to know. Now, the reason why I pose that question of taking money out of it, right? I feel there is something more to it. And I just feel like it's history repeating itself. All of these centuries, it's about control. The Persians had it, the Egyptians had it, the Romans had it. I mean, think of it. These huge civilizations governed by a small group of individuals. That's all it was, small group. You go here, I don't want to. Okay, we're going to kill you.
Right.
And it's like thousands of people versus 20 that gave you the same command, where the thousands can turn around and say, yeah, try it. Try to raise your hand on us, because that's not happening. But when you switch off the critical thinking, that's why I feel before it gets to money, I think it's a cycle, right? I think it's fear, number one. Don't do this. Don't do the carnivore diet. Don't switch up your diet. Don't change your lifestyle. The moment you succumb to that fear, there's the control. They got you. Bait and hook. At that point, medication. All right, I I want to live. I mean, right? That's where we're here. We want to live. We enjoy living. I enjoy waking up in the morning, get ready for the trials of the day, and enjoying every little spot of it. But no, now you're controlled. Got the medication. Oh, it's 2:00. I need to take it because if I don't take it, God forbid, I'm going to land in the ER. Okay, now that goes to the standard American diet. It just that arrow keeps going cyclical way. Standard American diet. I need to eat my grains, my fibers, my fruits, my vegetables, and my supplements. I need to eat this stuff. This is good stuff. This is good. Because all the way at the top of the cycle, they told me I need to follow this regimen. Perfect. Now you're working and you're feeding everyone else. And that's where the money kicks in. And it seems like it's hand in hand. Now, when you break out of that, not for nothing, it's 90% of people. We were part of that 90%. We were there. We were like, okay, no problem. Eat 6 times a day. That's the way to be. The more you eat little times a day, the higher your metabolism. And we ate that garbage. We ate it up.
Right, we did.
Oh, this is good. This is good. And you got to drink gallons of water, gallons, and before you know it, you're gonna have like fins underneath your armpits. But you got to keep drinking water. Okay, no problem. Salt, no good. This is where I want to get into. The older you get, the less salt you should consume, and that to me is one of the biggest lies, man. Because
Absolutely.
we need salt. It's electrical. We're a cell. It's electrical. Mitophagy, autophagy. It all goes hand in hand with the electricity that you have here. The moment you sever salt, electrolytes, bad things happen.
Yeah, and they know this.
Yeah. How has that helped you?
Improving my salt intake. I mean, I threw everything I'd been taught for 57 years away as far as nutrition, what I was taught. I remember when the food pyramid came out, I was in elementary school. I remember when they came out and they were showing that and all the presentations and stuff that they had for it, and everybody just went with it. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever said it was just an advertising campaign for farmers to sell wheat. Nobody knew that. Everybody thought because the government put it up that's what we should be doing. And they just ran with it, and they've continued to ruin our health with it since. But throwing everything away and finding out that salt was actually good for you, drinking electrolytes. I mean, I found out quickly that when you switch to this way of eating, your body flushes out your system. And if you're not taking in enough salt, you are going to cramp. It's going to happen. This Redmond salt container holds 7 grams of salt. I use between 1 and 2 of these a day. And if I don't, then I have to drink an electrolyte drink. Otherwise, I'll cramp at night. As long as I have about 7 grams to 10 grams of salt, I'm good. I don't cramp. But if I don't have it, then I will cramp. That's one of the biggest lies. It was in somebody's live yesterday or the day before. They were referring to us carnivores as meat batteries. We have to have the salt to make the battery work. Because that's what we are.
You know, I want to give a shout out to the chat right now. Donna Ray, what's going on? I think your side has joined us in as well.
Yep.
So, you know, I want to give a big shout out here. Brian is in the house. Aaron, Larry. I mean, Kelly is in here as well. Rick is about to start his live in about 20 minutes or so. I thank you all for hopping in. Angie is in the house. You know, what I really wanted to get into is, number one, I want to give you a shout out. Because you served in the military, and it takes cojones to make that commitment. And I thank you. The chat thanks you, and America thanks you for the sacrifice that you did. Your well-being, your life, you traded it in to protect us. So I value that, and so many Americans value that. And I thank you for this, man. Like from the bottom of my heart, when I had you on my other podcast, and we normally always do a special anniversary, because a good friend of mine who served, unfortunately, because of mental health, he's no longer with us. And the rigors of the military, us civilians have absolutely no clue what you guys go through. And it's so easy from the people in the stands to say, you should have done this, we should have done that. But for someone that's on the war field, my man, holy smokes, dude, from the bottom of my heart, man. Thank you. Thank you, Lance.
Man, it was an honor. And I wouldn't change anything I did with that for anything. I met some of the greatest people in my life in the military. And even though, I've lost contact with some and some are no longer with us, it was an honor to do. And I enjoyed looking back, I enjoyed everything I did with it. It made me who I am today. So you asked when I was on Dr. Kilt's, what I would tell myself if I went back. I wouldn't tell myself anything different about nutrition or anything, because my past is what made me who I am now.
Right.
And who knows where I'd be and what I'd be doing. Would I still be with my wife and my kids, or would I be somewhere else? I don't know.
Lance, I did have a question. How did military training teach discipline and consistency? Like, how did those traits help you succeed with carnivore, fasting, and rebuilding your health? Like, we were talking about before the whole insanity and whatnot, how those little facets in life, they all build up to like a game changer like carnivore. How did the military training and the experience that you had kind of segue into this?
I think a lot of, when I was in the military, I was military police. I was in law enforcement. They set a standard higher for themselves. So when we went through training, everything that we did was looked at and critiqued over and over and over until we did everything correctly. We weren't allowed to, like, our uniforms couldn't be wrinkled. They were starched and pressed. They looked sharp at all times. We weren't allowed to look like everybody else. They had certain standards that they would check. Your wallet was in a certain pocket. Your ID was here. Your dog tags were like this. They beat that into you. And even when you got to your unit, they did the same thing. Your first sergeant, your platoon sergeant, your squad leaders, they beat the standard for that unit into you. They didn't let you forget that you are ours and you will do exactly what you're told to do. That's part of the brainwashing for staying with the standard American diet too. It took a long time for me to get over that. But I think it helped tremendously, because that's what helped me stay with insanity to lose weight to begin with. Because I'm going to put it in Sean T's words. That shit is bananas.
Very true. Look, you just unlocked something for me, and I think I needed to hear this. I think so many people needed to hear what you just said. What occurs in the military shouldn't occur within your soul. If health matters to you, raise your standards. Have a standard of play in your mind. Shirt should not be wrinkled. That's your health inside.
Correct.
This potato chip does not agree with the standards that I walk. It's going to destroy me. The standard American diet, is that your standard? Is that okay at 10 p.m. to lounge on the sofa, watching reruns of Friends or Seinfeld, and downing a huge bowl of ice cream, and then getting to a certain high and passing out? Is that a standard that you're okay with? You have one life. At what point will you look in the mirror and say, that's not the standard that I want to abide by? That's why, like, I see a lot of parallels with you. And there's no cheat days. There's no, before you do something, you think about it. Like I walk that same line, and some people might say, wow, that's extreme. That's extreme. I'm like, where I came from was extreme, and no one said anything. I was 70 pounds overweight. Everybody was like, wow, you look great. You must work out. And I'm like, but you don't see what I'm seeing. I go up 3 steps up the stairs and I'm out of breath.
Right?
I can't even think. I'm getting in arguments with family for dumb stuff. My mind is going on a fast forward race in a VCR, and I don't know. I can't keep up. And I'm thinking of things that I shouldn't think because it hasn't even happened yet. Now you have your control. And this is where I wanted to get into here. Many veterans talk about hypervigilance, anxiety, or PTSD. How has eating a carnivore diet affected your ability to stay calm, think clearly, and process stressful situations?
It's a tremendous benefit for every one of those things that you just said. I still have, I've been out of the military for over 30 years now. I still sit with my back to the wall and I watch the doors, no matter where we go. It's just what I do. And I've always done it. And I go into a place, and the first thing I do is I'm assessing the threat inside of anywhere I go into. The ability for my mind to process stuff is tremendous. I'm not going to tell you how when I go to work in the morning, the first thing I got to do is I have to do a spreadsheet. And it used to take me 4 to 6 hours to do it. 6 hours was pretty much the norm. I'm not going to tell you how quick I can do it now. Not fair. But I have more free time now at work because my thought process is so much better. Especially if I'm fasting, the higher my ketones are, the faster my mind works. It's just amazing the difference in what you see, what you sense, and how your mind works when your ketones are up. And this way of eating turns you into a ketone factory. So if you're not bringing in carbohydrates, your body's going to be running on ketones. And that's where the body prefers to run. That's how I lost my fat. I switched from carbohydrate to a ketone metabolism, and it eats the fat. Am I going to have to switch back to maybe having some carbs at some point? I hope not. I don't think so. I think my body will get to where it needs to be, and then it'll just kind of regenerate what I do need. I know that's why I've been stalled in my weight loss since February until now. I changed a few things up. I changed what I eat just a little bit. I mix my ground beef, my 80-20, with ground pork. That takes the fat ratio from 70% of my calories from fat to 60.
Wow.
I eat the lower fat, one day, I eat the higher fat the next day. My body isn't used to it, so I've started dropping weight again. My lowest weight I've got on carnivore was 205, and that was in February. After that, it kind of started climbing, and I've been around the 220 mark since then. On the 15th of June, I was at 227, and I was like, what the hell? My pants still fit great. Everything still fit really good. My body is repurposing my fat and my muscle, right? So I understand that. But I still want to lose that weight, and I want to get under 200 pounds because that's where I'm officially no longer overweight. So in the middle of June, I had my last dental work done, and I've been doing a 3-day fast before my dental work. My dental work's been on Wednesday, so I've been fasting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And it seemed like every time I did that 3-day fast, I had really good results. And then go back eating, and my weight would come back to where it was, and then just kind of hover. Well, June 15th, I stepped on the scale, and I was 227 pounds again. And I didn't like that. So I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about a guy that did a 26-week fast where he was doing 72-hour fast for 26 weeks and how it helped him and stuff. I'm like, that's not a bad idea. I started doing the 3-day fast, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Since the 15th of June until this morning, which I just finished my fast, well, alternate day fast, just 36 hours. But I'm at 211 this morning.
Wow. Game changer.
It's a big difference. It's 16 pounds in, 25, 26 days, 27 days or something like that. I mean, that's huge. Huh. It's coming off again the way I want it to. The days that I'm eating, I'm alternating my fat ratio. So my body one day doesn't get a lot of fat or get all the fat. Next day it does. So I have to burn my own fat now.
Lance, I wanted to speak to you regarding that, right? Like I've been hearing, different mixed reviews on this. And since we're carnivore, we kind of can hone in on what ails us. And I've heard, and I've noticed as well, when I eat bacon or pork, my weight goes up. But when I stick to ruminant meats, either my weight stays the same or it lowers. And I know that, many people are like, oh, why are you weighing yourself? To me, it's a great indication of keeping myself accountable. I have to. And I just wanted to answer this question here by Brian. I don't. The only numbers that I really pay attention to is the scale. I don't check my cholesterol. I've come to a point in my life with this lifestyle. It doesn't matter to me. And again, this is personal. This is me. Anyone else, if you want to check your blood and whatnot, God bless, do it. For me, I don't check numbers anymore. The only one that I check every morning, I wake up, I go on the scale, I look down and I write it. I log it. So I have about 4 years worth of logs. And I could see back in 2022, at this stage of the game, I was close to 240, 245. I'm at 181 right now. But getting back to the original, I've noticed when I incorporate those foods, I'm not going to lie. I like, some little ribs here and there, some bacon with no sugar, some pork chops. But I realized the next day, Lance, then it's the weirdest thing. I could be 181 and the next morning I'll be at 186. Like 5 pounds. What? Oh, it's water weight. Yeah, I don't buy that. I'm just so through with that nonsense. Oh, just you lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. It's just water weight. It's weight that shouldn't have been there in the beginning.
Absolutely.
So All right, is the pork, are these non-ruminant meats holding on to water more than just ruminant meats? I don't know.
I think, honestly, I think it goes back to what the non-ruminants are being fed, because you're getting the ruminant animal has that 4-chamber stomach that gets rid of the stuff that's bad for you and me. The monogastric animal does not. So part of their diet, you're going to have the effects in their fat and in their muscle mass that you're eating, the protein. It's going to affect you too.
Right.
So if you're eating pork that was fed crap that you don't eat,
Right.
Soybeans and stuff like that, and they're not eating their natural, foraging stuff, it's going to make a difference. It's going to make you feel different. When I've gone out and I've had different foods at restaurants, even if I order, burgers with no bun and everything, if they cook that with a seed oil, I feel it the next day. It hurts. And I can tell you, there's a couple of restaurants that my wife and I have been to, and we won't go back again because of how we feel after we ate there the one time. We know that whatever they had on the grill or whatever they put into their meat to extend it wasn't good, because we both hurt. And I think it's a lot to do with just what the animal's fed. Even with chicken, chickens are carnivores. They're not meant to eat grains. They're supposed to be eating bugs, and they'll eat meat. They love meat. But, a vegetarian or vegan fed chicken laying an egg, that's cruelty to the animal. That's not what they're meant to do. And that's why they get so big. Because that food makes whatever animal is eating it big. That's the whole purpose of it.
Now, isn't it amazing? Like, this lifestyle has elevated and breaking through different levels, right? Number one, the addiction, right? The medications. Then you get into fasting. What role has faith, purpose, kind of having a mission played in your recovery, especially faith? Because I think that the fasting goes hand in hand. And I know a lot of viewers are like, here we go again. They're going to be talking about God again. Yeah. This is part of it. My whole thing with the carnivore diet, and that's why I won't demonize vegetarians and other. I think the most common denominator here is the fasting, because when you break away from constantly thinking about donuts, Happy Meals, sodas, ice cream, breakfast, lunch, what am I going to have at dinner? You're thinking about dinner at 8 a.m. When you break away and you have a connection with your creator, you know that you don't live by food and water alone, but by every word that comes out of God's mouth. You look at life different, and those ketones, I think those ketones have something to do with that connection of spirituality, where you could be like, all right, everybody else is eating. I like what I'm feeling. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of static in life. You can't get to the frequency on the radio station that you want to with the person that created you if you're eating junk, if your body's constantly breaking down things. But when you eliminate all of that, and you give your system a break, you start to hear his voice clearly. What do you think?
I won't disagree with that. You're right. And I haven't been much into my faith in the last 20 years since I moved here. My wife and I at one point were very into our church when we lived in Minnesota. It was a small church, and my wife and I were deacons in the church for a long time. And the last couple of years we were there, I was an elder with the church. I've done different things with my faith, even up until the last few years. But I do it on my own. I don't have to be out in public to do it. I don't have to go to a place here and do it. We've been to a couple of churches here and where we've moved to, and it just didn't feel right here. I carry a Bible in my vehicle. It's always there with me. It's the same thing with, this tattoo. This is a gargoyle. What do gargoyles do? They defend against evil. It's on my left arm. It protects my heart from evil. Symbolism. When you're getting the ketones and you're fasting, your mind doesn't need the insulin to get the glucose in to fuel it. Your brain only does run on some glucose, and that's why your liver can make it. But the majority of the time, my mind is running on ketones. And the more ketones you have and the clearer your mind gets, there's just a calming to your body, a calming to your mind, and the spiritual aspect of it is just, it's amazing what really happens. You really do change in your mind. My personality has changed a lot since I've been on this. I used to be that grumpy, fat, old, bald guy that didn't like to do anything. Get home from work and I was tired. I just wanted to sit down and I wanted to just be left alone. Now I have more energy than my grandkids do. I don't really exercise much. I should, but I don't. I like to walk. And, yesterday I got off work and I was just full of energy, and I was in the middle of my ADF fast. And I know if I sit it here at home and I start thinking about stuff, I want to eat, because that's the habit. I broke the habit yesterday. I went for a walk. And I'm walking along the path and I'm like, I'm going at a good clip. My walk was, for every mile, I was doing a mile in 16 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wow.
That's a pretty good pace.
That is.
And there were a couple of times where I had so much energy. I started jogging, and I've always said, if you see me running, unalive whatever's behind me. But I just had this energy, and it's so amazing what happens when you're fueled this way. My energy level is just tremendous. And a lot of that has to do with the ketones. But as far as the faith, and it's never left me. And my faith is actually stronger now. I don't have to go to, a big church to show everybody that I have faith. My faith is mine.
Right.
Same with my wife. We're still very spiritual people. We still teach our kids this way and our grandkids, but we don't have to go into a big church to do it.
Gotcha.
We know it.
It's so important. I mean, to have that, and that's part of the layer, right? And you also talked about exercising. In walking, that's an exercise. Carolina Carnivore, strength training for me has been a game changer when added to the carnivore. When I started first 4 months, I was just focused on getting healthy. Then all of a sudden, this jolt of energy. And I'm like, wow, this is wild. This is intense. And I started implementing, just working out, having a regimen, kind of filling out the standard that we were talking about before. All right, like every morning when I wake up 5 a.m., hit the gym downstairs in the basement, everybody's sleeping, read my Bible, prayer, and ready for the day. That is, I need, like, it's a need for me to do this. And the walks, I think so many people overlook that calisthenic part of carnivore. Walking is such an imperative part of the exercise, and you nailed it. We have succumbed to just sitting on the couch, whether you're fasting or not, just sitting on the couch.
Yep.
And time continues to march on, as Metallica said, continues to just bye-bye, it's gone, as opposed to getting up, go for that walk. I felt, and I still feel, that those walks are so therapeutic, Lance. Just on the walk, whether if I have my iPod on, and I'm listening to either a sermon, motivation, just like a podcast, something that by the time I'm done with, whether it's a 20-minute walk or a 2-hour walk, I just go. It just keeps going. I feel like my beard is growing like Forrest Gump. Well, I'm just afraid to look back because I'm going to have like a plethora of people telling me, and what are we supposed to do now? I don't know. But I think that's so important, the exercise. And it all boils down to your mental health, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
How many Americans are suffering from that? They can't get out of the couch. They're trapped in their own movie reel over and over and over, thinking about things that haven't even happened yet or will ever happen.
Yeah.
Stuck with high glucose, high insulin, antidepressant pills over and over, and you just can't get out of your way. And believe it or not, you push so many people away with that mentality. But there is a way. There's a way out of this. Your mental focus, right, with everything that you've been through right now. How clear are you?
Well, I'm very clear. I have my mental focus. Do I get distracted? At times when there's a whole lot going on, but not like I used to. And I used to be such a scatterbrain at times at work and stuff. And my attention, I couldn't keep focused on one thing. It's the focus on this way of eating is tremendous. Your brain, that fog goes away, and it goes away fairly quickly. But you reintroduce stuff that's not good for you, it comes back quickly too. You know, you have to be careful. You have to guard your carb sobriety because you start putting those back in there and it will come back.
Guard your carb sobriety. Wow. That's my moniker, man. 100%. And it's, I haven't touched a carb. I haven't done ice cream, even the keto ice cream. I've heard that it's great. It tastes amazing.
Now, like, you can make that ice cream, Dan, with just heavy whipping cream and an egg.
Right. And it has crossed my mind. It's just, I don't want to. Where I'm at in life, in my head, it's like, I don't want to even have that temptation, right? Because back in life, it's like when I did keto, everything was going great, and then they're like, have some blueberries. It has a low glycemic index, no problem. Before I know it, I'm downing Doritos. I'm like, what the heck just happened? And I balloon back up, right? So it's like these little triggers where, kind of like Michaela Peterson, right? Her journey where she had to like pinpoint exactly what was ailing her. And I think all of us have this amazing journey in which we're sharing with the world that there are better options out there, and see what helps you, what hinders your progress, and not to be stuck in a rut if you do hit a hurdle, because it happens so many times. Like I'm almost at that point, right, where I would like to start implementing certain things, but like then I get hit with why would you want to do that? Like you feel great. Like, I was never a drinker. I was never like an alcoholic or whatnot, but once in a while I didn't mind having like a beer or whatnot. And whenever I have my outings here, I see people drinking and whatnot, and it's not like I need it, but like, oh man, I wouldn't mind having like a vodka seltzer. But then
Right.
it's like controlling that thought immediately. I'm sure it happens to you. Like it's instant. You have a voice that says, not worth it. Don't do it. You've
Absolutely.
come this far. Don't do it. And then it goes away. It goes away. I don't think about it anymore.
So I quit drinking in October of 2024. I still had at least 3 bottles of liquor in my cupboard here. My wife just got rid of them the other day.
Mm.
They've been there. Open up the cupboard, they're there. Never bothered me. I am an alcoholic.
Mm.
I was able to give it up
Wow.
without any issues. When I used to drink 2 to 3 glasses of whiskey when I got home from work. I'm not talking like, 2 or 3 ounces. I'm talking like 6 to 8 ounces of whiskey
Wow.
a day. I could drink 2 or 3 of them. I'm an alcoholic. I stopped cold turkey and coffee the same day.
Wow.
This way of eating gives your mind and your body the necessary tools to do stuff like that. You can overcome the addiction to alcohol, to drugs, to tobacco. March of 2025, I quit chewing Copenhagen snuff. I chewed that since I was 12. For 45 years, I chewed it. And at the end of March of 2025, I gave that up. That was harder than giving up the alcohol. That was harder than giving up the sugar. That was the hard thing for me to quit, was doing that. What this way of eating does for you, the way it changes your mind and your mentality, and the way it gives you a strength that you never knew you had, is absolutely amazing.
I apologize. My wife is bothering me again.
They're good for that.
And she's like, "Are you live?" I'm like, "I have the headphones on," and she's about to. And here she comes to mess around with me.
Yep.
Thanks, hon. Nah, she's my queen. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
No, it's out of this world, the way how it has transformed us. And Aaron just said it right, and it's true. The community, the community is so important.
It is.
Because it keeps you in line. You're with like-minded people. You don't take any nonsense anymore. And you see everyone's journey, and you work with everyone, and to me, that is the big one. Like, I have a family member who I learned from the whole carnivore thing. And, he broke off, and now he's coming back. When you try to do it on your own, great, more power to you. But there's going to be these instances where you need help. And so many people just try to push away from having friends, from having a good base of talking to someone. That's why I value these conversations with you. So many people that come on the show or your show, which I sit back, I'll go for a walk with my dog and I turn it on and I listen. And there's always something new that gets brought up. And that's the beauty of this life, the lifestyle, the way how we live is always elevating your knowledge, the acumen of this kind of mentality of how can I elevate myself? You know, I was never a book reader. I'm freaking ripping through books. And I'm highlighting. My wife is like, why are you highlighting books? You don't highlight. I'm like, I'm highlighting everything. Even like the front of the cover, I'm highlighting. Because like you said, the whole ketones, the high energy levels, you're open. You're so open. There's no brain fog. You know what's funny? Whenever I say that, I stop. It's like I'm a complete hypocrite. I completely lost my brain fog, you know? But I just love the whole thing, man. And listen, we're going to wrap this up, in which I don't want to, but as you saw right now, I got to run some errands. Where can people find you, and what are your lasting words in order to help someone that has gone through so much and are looking for that option?
Well, you can find me at North Dakota Carnivore on YouTube. I do a Saturday and Sunday accountability meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Central. My lasting words, if you're watching this and you're on the edge and you're thinking that we're crazy, just know that once you try this way of eating for 30 days, it doesn't take long for that brain fog to go away. It doesn't take long for your mentality to start changing and for you to be able to think clearly. And once you start that, you go end up in that rabbit hole and you're going to feel so good. One of the biggest things that people do is when they change this way of eating, they can't shut up about it. And it's amazing what it does for your body. It's amazing what it does for your spirit. It's amazing what it does for your mind. If you're suffering of so many different diseases out there right now, just know that this way of eating can help a vast majority of them, because a vast majority of them are from the foods that you're eating, especially the ultra processed foods. So if you're looking to go vegan, as long as it's whole food and no barcodes on it and ingredients in it, go ahead. It's better than the standard American diet.
Right.
I'd highly recommend going carnivore because that's what your body needs. It's a better way of eating, but getting away from our ultra processed food diet needs to happen, and needs to happen quickly. And community, find a community.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasts like what Dan's doing here, what I do, what Aaron does, Carnivore Quest does, Dr. Kiltz. These places are great communities for people to come together and to learn. The chats are an amazing place to learn from the people who are actually doing this stuff. So get out there and do it. Try it for 30 days. Try it for 90 days. You're going to have amazing results.
Well, I appreciate this, man. Listen, this cannot be the last time. We have to, I would like to have like a round table, to be honest, to have you on, to have different perspectives on carnivore, have like certain debates, because I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy. There's a lot of things that we need to express, talk about. Maybe it might be a little taboo, but that's why we're in this. We're in this because we had to break out of our shell. We had to talk back at the status quo and say, wait, this just doesn't seem right. Why move forward with what is just, you have a gut feeling that I'm not going to end well. It's crazy that you started in 2024. I started as well in October because of a health scare. And here we are, almost 2 years later. You look in the mirror, and not a lot of people could say this, right? Like, this is not being conceited. This is not being prideful. You look in the mirror, I'm 45. And I'm like, wow, are you kidding me?
Right.
Just steak? Like, you ever wake up in the morning and you're like, holy smokes, I'm eating steak today again. Like living a life of kings. Steak. Steak and eggs, butter, everything they tell you not to. Water, massive amounts of salt. And you're there. At your age, my age,
Yep.
I see people in their 20s, 25, lethargic. And I'm like, you can change. You could be at the peak of your life if you can alter what you're putting in your mouth. Like you alluded to. You want to go vegetarian? Sure. Do your thing so long as it doesn't have a barcode. Look at what you're eating before you do it. Because if not, it's going to be a detriment down the line. And not for nothing, right? It's harder for us to kind of rewind now at our age than it was back then. But we found it. We did it.
Absolutely. The younger you find this, the easier it is to reverse your health conditions and to get over it and to thrive like we're supposed to. So,
yeah.
It's amazing.
So true. Now I want to see if I could do the outro now, if it works. Lance, I will be listening to your show later. You're going to be on later, right?
I will be on in just a couple hours.
Heck yeah, man. Can't wait to chime in on that one. Dude, have a great day. And chat, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely we'll see you next weekend.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Yes, awesome.